Welcome everybody and welcome to our on-screen tutorial for this week. Today I thought we could chat about the hashtag in general and also some rules. For some of us, hashtags can be quite confusing and we almost wonder, why are we using them? Why are they even necessary? And it's important within our industry to understand why hashtags and all these different elements are being used. It's not something that's just trending. It actually has a function and a purpose. And it's a bit like, if we imagine the olden days going to the library and how everything is indexed or cataloged, etc. That's kind of what a hashtag does if we're trying to compare it to something of yesteryear. It's a way of pulling through relevant posts that belong to a certain theme or category or index. That's probably the best way that I can explain it. And I thought that today we could just have a nice basic conversation about some do's and don'ts, as well as just general info about using the hashtag. We use the hashtag when we are using social media. So that is our LinkedIn, Instagram. Twitter is very, very hashtag dominant. It has a huge emphasis on using hashtags in Twitter in specifically, and I would say that Instagram as well, but more so or top so would be Twitter, then Instagram, then Facebook and LinkedIn. And I have also seen that we can be using hashtags in our blogs. That's another type of tagging the blog if it comes from a big blog site. So that's something worth keeping in mind as well. Rules of the hashtag. This is a wonderful creative that I found on Pinterest. I mentioned in my most recent tutorials the pleasure that I find using Pinterest now. It's become an obsession to find all of these visuals of these different concepts that are quite challenging for some of us. And on Pinterest, you will actually find infographics, infograms, mind maps, and images of a lot of the e-commerce, digital marketing, and online advertising methodologies, ideologies, and so on. So I encourage you, if you're a visual learner, to go jump onto Pinterest to see how many different visuals that you can gather for your folders and your upskilling. So when it comes to the rules of the hashtag, it needs to be memorable, not just your brand name all the time. Okay? It needs to make sense. Sometimes I see people making an entire sentence into a hashtag. To me, it should be no more than 2 words in a hashtag at the maximum, maybe 3, but stick to 2. The hashtags need to be relevant for whatever the post is about. Too often I find that there's lots of irrelevant hashtags on a post. It needs to be easy to understand. Make sure that it is relevant to the product or the service or the content. It must be recognizable, relatable, and easy to understand. Ensure consistency with your hashtags. Maybe keep them within a certain theme, depending on what it is that you are posting about. And make sure that you keep using the most powerful hashtags that are relevant for what you do in a lot of your posts, so that the search engines and the algorithms can pick up on that as well. Keep your hashtags short and simple. Again, I don't think it should be any more than 2 words, maximum 3. Use it everywhere. Exactly. So use it on all of your social media platforms. Use it on your blog sites and so on. So use your hashtag everywhere. And also research the hashtags that you should be using for your posts. And you can do so much of that on Google. You can go like, I'll show you now. Let's go onto Google. We're doing a demo, so let's do it. Here we go. Something like top hashtags for Instagram. There you go. Or research hashtags for Instagram. And there you go. That's where you can find some tech tools on how to do some research. There's lots of little free tools that you can find online where you can find the best hashtags to use for Instagram. Find the best ones for Twitter, knowing that Twitter is almost entirely about the use of hashtags. But again, it depends if you will be selling your product or your service on there. I've also found an interesting blog from Hootsuite. And in all of our webinars and demos, I always encourage all of the participants to please get your information directly from the horse's mouth. Companies like Hootsuite, it's the world's #1 social media scheduling platform, and they have this very powerful blog site. They even offer examinations and certifications that you can go and do, add it to your CV and make you look more credible if you're looking for employment. So with anything social media related, I will tend to go directly to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn for information about those specific platforms, or for general sort of global textbook rules, I will tend to go to Hootsuite. They have a very powerful blog, and here they have a fabulous blog which is not out of date. It's how to use hashtags in 2021. It's a quick and simple guide for every network. You can actually go and find that on Hootsuite, as well as any other relating blogs, of which there will be many. But here they go through what actually is a hashtag. A hashtag is a word or phrase preceded by the pound symbol. On social media, it serves as an indication that a piece of content relates to a specific topic or belongs to a category. Hashtags help make content discoverable in on-platform searches and effectively reach more people. So here are some basics, which is really cool. They always start with a hash. A hashtag will always start with the pound sign or the hash. Make sure your accounts are public. Otherwise, the hashtag content you write won't be seen by any followers. Don't string too many words together. I've raised that already. Use relevant and specific tags and limit the number of hashtags that you use. I have learned recently that for Instagram, it is a minimum of 3 and an absolute maximum of 5 hashtags at the moment. Do not be using for Instagram more than 5 hashtags. And I think in general, it's a good idea only to use the hashtags in moderation. I've also seen what can be perceived as a textbook practice is when you're doing your posts to actually put your hashtags as the first comment. That's something that I have seen as a best practice for the placement and display of hashtags. Why use hashtags? It increases the engagement with your followers. It builds brand awareness with branded hashtags. It shows support for social issues, and we will all be very aware of that and understand where we have seen that in use. It adds context to a social media post, and all the more reason why it needs to be relevant. Helps your target audience to find you. And it can disclose sponsored partnerships. That's pretty much it from me today. It was a short demo giving you a basic understanding of hashtags, some best practices, some do's and don'ts, where I'm going to get my information. Jump onto Hootsuite.com. They have a very powerful blog. Jump onto Pinterest, set up some pin boards with digital marketing, e-commerce and online advertising, visual infographics, etc. And of course, you can also use Google to search the right and relevant hashtags suitable for your business and your social media profiles. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm going to end on this final slide, the rules of the hashtag. I hope you all are well. Thank you for joining, and see you next week.